All right, family, I wanted to break down a variation of mermaid pose in lunge versus generally when we think of mermaid pose, we usually do it in pigeon pose. And when it's in pigeon pose, it's kind of the lead up towards king pigeon. I also really like it in lunge pose. I find it can be a bit more accessible for people's bodies just because it's not as deep of a hip opener, and it can be a lot easier on the knees. That being said, it also can be too much on the knees. So what I would recommend is some sort of padding underneath your back knee. I've got this little chip block, so it's kind of a soft block. You can use a blanket, you can use whatever you have around. And then I always recommend starting with a strap regardless of whether or not you need it. You're going to grab a strap. You can also always use a bathrobe belt or a regular belt or a TheraBand. Any kind of long stringy thing would be great. Just ideally that it's thick, meaning that it's going to be able to support you. So you'll create a loop in your strap, or you can always, if you don't have the ability to create a loop like this, you can just tie a knot. And the strap should be about, I don't know what this is, like 4 or 5 inches in diameter out to the side. And so I love this pose, mermaid pose, because it is a very, very deep shoulder opener, psoas opener, groin, and chest. So I feel like it hits all the things that I find our bodies generally need, just from all the sitting. Back bends, all back bends, I feel like are so good for that. They're so therapeutic for our bodies, for the way that our lifestyle is these days. Okay, so strap at the, I'm going to do it on the left side first. The right foot is going to be bent. So my strap's going to be on the right side of my mat. I'm going to come onto hands and knees. I'm going to step my right knee onto the padding and step my left foot forward into a lunge, okay? You may also want a block for this, so I'm going to show you all the things. It's nice to have lots of prop options, and generally, I don't teach this pose in a 1-hour class, but I wanted to be able to break this all down for you. So we did a lot of the shape before we came into this, and I'll explain it in a little while. So hands on the ground on the inside of the front foot, and you don't want to walk your left foot too far out to the left. Ideally, just hip width apart or a little bit wider so that you're able to hug the inner thighs in towards each other. It just gives the lower back more space. Okay, and then you can climb your right hand onto the block to put your left forearm on top of your left forearm on top of your left thigh, and then bend nice and deep into the front knee and lift the chest. So this is kind of like a step from coming down here. This is the second step up, literally. So coming onto it, and the more upright you go with the torso, the more intense the stretches in the psoas and in the spine. And especially if you start to feel compression in your lower back, you'll want to keep your torso forward and down. I'm bending quite deep into the front knee, so that ideally I'm not on my kneecap of my back knee. I'm kind of where my knee and my thigh meet. That being said, I find sometimes when I bend the back knee, regardless of whether or not I'm on the thigh, I can still feel a little bit too much pressure on my knee, which is why I have padding underneath there. Okay, so from here, you may want to just stay upright. I'm just going to walk us through all the kramas, especially those of us who are teachers. I would walk through these kramas just to see what's the ability of your students today. And then we can bring the right hand to the right hip and come directly upright, and you're like, ooh, sometimes that's more than enough. Okay, then left arm lifts up, left elbow bends, left hand to the back of the heart, right hand to the elbow, lift the chest up. So we did this shape a lot today. I'm squeezing my sit bones towards each other. So this would be the mermaid pose without the leg, right? Or you can also do what we were doing in the lunge pose, right? Where you put the strap in your left hand, right hand comes back, there's the cow face, hold on to the strap, lift the chest.